What is it that's stopping you from creating true wealth, prosperity, and fulfillment in your life? Hey guys, how's it going? This is James Tripp with a video for James Tripp Chaos Wave. I have a question for you, which is this. What is it that is stopping you from creating true wealth, prosperity, and fulfillment in your life? Now, if you're watching this video, you're going to be watching it in one of two places. You'll either be watching it on James Tripp Chaos Wave on YouTube, or you will be watching it on the Power of 8 information page on jamestripp.co.uk. I'll say something right at the end of the video about Power of 8 2.0, but for now I just want to focus on this idea of getting more into your power to truly create and shape your life as you would wish it to be, so you can create the kind of wealth, prosperity, and personal fulfillment that you would like to have in your life. By the way, I want to say something right now. As I say this, I guess some people out there might be rolling their eyes going, oh yeah, here we go, some more of this life creation, create your life thing, all of this kind of thing. But let's face it. Let's look at the reality of this. If we look around us in the world, there are some people who seem to be more effective at consistently creating results that serve them and the people who are important to them in terms of wealth, prosperity, and personal fulfillment. There are some people that just seem to be better at it. So what's going on? Are they lucky? Well, maybe luck plays a factor. As an old mentor of mine used to say, never underestimate the power of randomness as a force in the universe. So there's randomness in the mix, but there's always randomness in the mix. Life is chaos. So are they privileged? That's another thing. And do you know what? The answer to that is sometimes yes. The truth is, in life, some people are born closer to the font than others. It isn't a level playing field out there, in spite of what some people in the world of self-development might want to teach you. So we've all got circumstances that we don't choose. Some of them are more advantageous than others. All of these things come into the mix. But here's the thing. Regardless of circumstances, regardless of fate, regardless of luck, I'm going to suggest to you right now that there are certain ways of seeing the world and being in the world that are more conducive to you being in the driving seat of your life, more conducive to you being able to optimize your influence with the world around you, and to engage with it in such a way as you can start to create a life that really works for you. A life that really works for you, that you are at the center of, a life that serves you, not you serving the demands of life. Now, about a year ago, I think about February, it's about a year ago, February 2018, I put this video out called How Hypnosis Bought Me 10 Years of Freedom. I'll put a link to the video. I'm not going to recap everything in the video, but as a summary, basically I was talking about how once upon a time I worked for other people in life. And it goes deeper than just working for other people, but I'll keep it simple right now. I worked for other people. That meant that I had bosses who were not me. And really those bosses had a lot of power over the shape of my life, because those bosses decided how much I was going to get paid or not. It was their choices that led directly to how much I was going to get paid or not my choices. So I had these bosses. Also, these bosses required me, in order for me to get paid at all, to show up somewhere and do certain things, largely do what I was told. So these bosses were also telling me how my most precious resource, which is my time, how my most precious resource would be used and utilized, how an awful lot of it would be. So I was in a situation, and it's not an uncommon situation, where I was just simply not in the driving seat of my life. I wasn't completely divorced from choice. Obviously, I was at this place through choices, all sorts of things. But I was held there, and I was held there for a long time by my own deep psychology, by my own beliefs and perceptions about how the world worked, what is or isn't so, all of these sorts of things. And all of this had come from my cultural programming, so this was all in the mix. But the thing is about this situation, having a boss, working for the man, whatever you want to call it, it just didn't align for me. didn't align with what was in my heart, what was in my soul, who I was at a deep, deep level in a sort of raw, undifferentiated way. So I faced a choice. I was either going to continue with a life of sacrifice, not really being in the driving seat of my life, or I was going to step forward as an independent life path creator. This meant stepping up, taking direct responsibility for my own wealth and wealth flow, the prosperity of myself and my family, and ultimately it put me in the driving seat to make choices where I could live a life of fulfillment. And this is no small thing, a life of fulfillment. So I did this video, How Hypnosis Brought Me 10 Years of Freedom, and I was kind of talking about hypnosis, the fact that I'd learned hypnosis and I'd made this my profession and craft, and I got expertise in this and how I'd leverage these expertise. And off the back of this, I was running a couple of coaching groups. I called them Power of Eights because there are 8 people in each group. And what I was doing in that was sharing what I had learned across the 10 years about utilizing your personal expertise, your personal experience to create multiple streams of income. That was the focus of the group, leveraging your personal expertise and experience to create multiple streams of income. Now, I really enjoyed running these groups. In a sense, they are prototype groups. But one of the things that was sort of revealed to me is different people engage at different levels with groups like this. And I think it's a reflection of how people think in broader terms. So a lot of people recognize that the results they get in their lives, the habitual results that they get, are something to do with what they do, their behavior, how they engage with the world. So they get that there are more effective ways of engaging with the world and less effective ways of engaging with the world. And so sometimes it seems like the solution is to just get the right strategies, the right formulas, the right tactics for engaging with life. And there's something to that. There is an awful lot of value in the right tactics and strategies, or I say right, but useful tactics, useful strategies, useful formulas even. There's a lot of value to that. But there's something else, something deeper, because one of the things that often comes up when you're really doing one-on-one coaching, really personally tailored coaching for people, or small group coaching like this, is that oftentimes people, they can get the strategy, they can get the tactic, they can sort of get a plan, they can know what to do, all of this kind of stuff, and yet something is holding them back. Something is stopping them. Instead of striding forward, they're hanging back. Instead of rising up, they're laying low. It's not lack of information. The truth is, you can find all the information you need these days if you know how to use Google. It's not a lack of information that is holding people back. It's not having the wrong strategies as such. What ends up holding people back is where they're coming from, within themselves, within their deep programming, their deep operational systems, their deep psychology, how they are seeing the world and seeing themselves. And there's a reason that this creates a hanging back. Our brain is ancient, or certain parts of our brain are ancient. The older parts of our brain are very, very old. We might come to a decision with a newer part of our brain that says this would be a good thing to do in life. And the newer part of our brain might say, yeah, actually, I could do that. I could get this information together. I could do that thing. But the deeper part of the brain is seeing the world differently. And it sees these new plans, these new ideas, these new strategies. It actually processes them as a threat. So our deep psychology says, no, that's not in alignment with how the world works. So I'm going to create procrastination, or I'm going to create stress, or I'm going to create self-sabotage. I'm going to create fuzzy-headedness, lack of focus, all of these sorts of things. There is a proactive survival instinct for the deep brain to conserve energy, to keep us away from wasting our time on things that we don't really believe are possible or we can really achieve. So oftentimes people start from the top and they say, this is what I want in my life. They chunk down and go, what strategies do I need? Yep, I can see that, I can put that in place, and yet they don't do it. It's like they're trying to move forward, but their foot is on the brake. And the reason is they have not done the deep transformation. They haven't done the deep transformation. So with the original Power of 8 groups, what started off as being about, look, here's some things you can do, here's some ideas that are about mapping engagement with the world. What they ended up doing was chunking deeper and deeper and deeper into looking at people's own personal psychology and how that was supporting the life that they wanted to create. And oftentimes it just wasn't. So in reflecting upon the experience of running the two first Power of 8 groups, I decided I would love to do another Power of 8 group, but I wanted to change the focus. This time I wanted to change the focus. And I'm not excluding the stuff around strategy and tactics and these sorts of things, the sort of more surface level thinking, but what I want to do is I want to do what I was able to do with some of the people in the first groups, the people who are willing to go there, which is go deep. Go deep into the individuals in the groups, go deep into your personal psychology, your core operating system. Really unpack, bring transformative consciousness and awareness to understanding how you are seeing the world, how you are making sense of the world, and the implications of that. And then looking at how potential upgrades can work, exploring with those upgrades so that the deep part of your brain, which likes to know that you're using your resources well, can come on board with these new understandings, these new ways of being in the world, relax into that so you can start living from a different place. I'm not talking about doing different things, I'm talking about living from a different place, and living from a different place for a particular reason. Living from a place that's going to create in your life for yourself and the people who are important to you, wealth flow, prosperity, and fulfillment. These things, I'm not going to unpack what each of those terms mean. If you look on the information page for Power of 8, I unpack explicitly what each of those terms mean. So as you're watching this, you may think, yeah, that's a thing that I would like to engage with. You may think, no, I'm not in a place to engage with that right now. If you're not in a place to engage with it, I want this video to be of value to you anyway. I want this video to be of value to you anyway, and I want you to know something. It's very easy when we start making plans to change our life to get frustrated and annoyed with ourselves because we're just not following through. And if that's you, I'm going to offer you something, which is this. It's okay. It's a human thing. There is nothing wrong with you if you try and do behaviors that are out of sync with your deep understandings, with your core programming. If you try and do behaviors that are out of sync, you're likely to fail. Okay, some people, maybe they have an iron will and they can push through and they can push through. It's not the easy way. I'm not saying it's impossible. It is, I guess, doable. Some people will do that. But if you find that your brain says no and creates procrastination, if it creates laying low, if it creates self-sabotage, if it creates brain fog, lack of focus, all of these things, these are very natural human survival mechanisms. The deep brain does not want to waste energy on anything that it thinks is going to be fruitless. Okay? So understand that. Cut yourself some slack. Slow down and start looking in a different direction. How are you seeing the world? How are you making sense of the world? How is your deep brain seeing the world and making sense of the world? You see? Because if it doesn't think something is truly possible or doable for you, it will divert your attention and your energy. Okay? So that's a place that I would invite you to look. And you cannot look there if you're caught up in frustration at your own actions. If you're too busy giving yourself a kicking because you didn't follow through with something that you said you would or whatever. So I want to say that right now. And if you do want to reprogram what's going on deep down in your brain, you don't need coaching. You don't need coaching. If you're willing to slow down, bring attention, I did the self-hypnosis personal alchemy program. If you're willing to learn the craft of self-transformation, you're willing to spend time exploring that, you can transform yourself deeply. You don't need coaching. Coaching is just a catalyst. It just speeds things up. It just makes it easier when you've got somebody who has an expertise set in directing consciousness into these deep places, into revealing the programs, how they operate, into guiding you and exploring deeply in an embodied way with different ways of being and different ways of doing. Of course, that's going to make it a lot easier. And that's the offer to anybody who is interested in doing Power of 8 2.0. So I just say at the end of this video here, Power of 8 2.0, it's 2.0 for two reasons. Number one is because the focus is deepening. So we're going in at a deeper level compared to the first two Power of 8 groups last year. We're looking at a profound self-transformation that creates an automatic way of being in the world that is generative in terms of wealth, prosperity, and personal fulfillment. Okay, we are becoming, the tagline of it is live as a creative force. Have your default ways of being creative in terms of the results that you want. Okay, so that is one level on which it's a 2.0. The second level is on who I'm inviting to engage with this. Now, everybody that engaged with the first two groups, they were all wonderful and lovely people. And I'm going to be frank and say some were more proactive in their engagement than others. So inevitably, you know, if you pick any group of people, you'll have some people that really come forward and really engage. And there'll be some people whose preferred style is to hang back, just to sort of sit on the periphery, ambiently absorbing things, coming to their own conclusions at their own time. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. But what I'm going to say is with this group, with Power of 8 2.0, I am looking for people who are willing to really engage, really come forward, really engage proactively in the group. So I'm only going to run one group this year and not two, just one. And I'm going to be having an upfront conversation with everybody who applies, because I want to check that they are open to really engaging. So that's the first thing. The second sort of requirement on the participant side that I'm really explicitly stipulating this time is that everybody who engages the group engages with it with ownership, with a willingness to take responsibility for their own choices, to recognize that they have power in how they conceive of things up here in their minds, that they're willing to move to that point of power. They're willing to connect more fully with their personal power and increase levels of ownership and responsibility in their lives, which can be a kind of a scary thing, but that'll be part of the coaching, how we coach you to increase your ownership in your life so you can really get your hands on the levers that move your life. So those are the two main things. And I will put one caveat in here as well. If you are thinking of engaging in this group, recognize it is a deep transformation group. It is about who you are becoming. It is not about holding you accountable on a level of behavior. I will absolutely hold you accountable if you join this group, but it will be accountable to owning your power, steering you and looking in the direction where you can connect more fully with your power, not allowing you to abdicate your power by deferring responsibility for your actions to some outside agent, like me, for example. So I will not hold you accountable on the level of behavior. As an old mentor of mine used to say, accountability coaching on the level of behavior infantilizes people. It's like saying, I can't do it myself, so I need you to hold me accountable. I'm not knocking that, by the way. I know it sounds like I am. It's just not what this group is about. This is about deep transformation. So if you're thinking about engaging, be aware of that. Look at yourself and ask yourself this question. Am I willing to transform myself deeply in order to start getting the results that I want to get in my life? Am I willing to own that transformation? To see myself as the true agent of change in my own life? If you are, and if this group seems interesting to you, I am going to bring my expertise in terms of my understanding of neuro-linguistics, all of the different reality tunnels that I've explored personally on engagements with the world that shape life. I will bring my coaching expertise, and I will bring all of my experience from the last 10 years and before to be there as a catalyst in this environment. Okay, I'm not going to say anything more about the group because you can go on the page. There is an extensive write-up. There is no sales copy on that page, pure information only, because I want people who make this decision to make this decision from a place of their own sovereignty, not because I sold the place to them or anything like that. This is going to be a fantastic group because the people who show up, the people who ultimately engage, they're all going to be highly generative individuals, highly sovereign individuals. People are looking to up their ownership, not be influenced from the outside in an undiscerning way by me. Okay, so if you like this video, give it the thumbs up. And if you're on YouTube, if you've got any comments or anything like that, any questions, if you're on jamestripp.co.uk, you can use the comment section there. If you're on YouTube, you can use the comment section there. As an aside from all of this, if you're looking for more deep knowledge, deep understanding on how you can use your mind to shape your life, do subscribe to James Tripp Chaos Wave and hit the notifications bell so you get information up on when the videos come out. And that's about all we need to say. So until we next communicate, keep on using your mind to shape your life.